Hello and welcome. Today I want to work on this Mavic 840 short cage rear derailleur. I managed to get a really cheap short cage derailleur, and I was hoping that I was going to be able to swap out this, the body or the part that had basically been damaged on the mid cage derailleur, and put them out. And unfortunately what I've discovered is the exact same issues on this derailleur, so I believe that it's very likely this is a recurring problem on Mavic derailleurs, at least on this version. So specifically the part I'm talking about is the pin slash screw that is right here that runs through this back plate there, and that comes at the back here, just there. And so what's happened is that it's been slightly, probably from an impact, been damaged and slightly bent, and so it means that when you remove it you damage all the threads inside it, and essentially the whole body is then pretty much useless in that regard. So my first thing I'm going to say to you, and I think you should check out first before you do anything, is looking if your one possibly has any damage. And the way you do that is I noticed right here, if this isn't kind of like flat, let's say towards this part and this part, if it isn't exactly flat, there's likely been some damage on this part. And so what's going to happen is you're going to remove this and it's going to damage all the threading. If yours is like that, I would suggest just leaving it alone and not touching it at all on that part. We're going to now work on the short cage derailleur. I'm going to try and remove it. So let's get started. Screw that's located there, we're going to take that off with a number 3 Allen key. It's quite tight, this one. I've already removed it and I put a little bit of liquid, so this is actually all good. That's probably the easiest one to remove. Access straight away to the underneath. There's a kind of like a bushing in between it. I've already taken one of the circlips off right here, so now I'm going to take off the other one. You're going to need a pretty sharp knife to get into it between the little holes to pop it off. So literally using the edge of a knife to get behind this circlip and got it off. Okay, I managed to remove one pin and I'm going to show you how I did that. Finally, it was pretty difficult but not that hard. And we can now remove that top cage. Brilliant. Alright, well, I'll remove that as well. Okay, so now for removing these pins, the best way I found, you're going to need something like a circular shape here that's going to go on the top of the other side of where you're pushing out, and it's going to go on the top there. So essentially what you're going to be able to do there is you're going to be able to push against this but still allowing it to go through. And on the other side here you're going to use some paper, and so what you're going to need really though is a vise to be able to push this through. So I've got this small old school type of vise that's handheld, but you can do this obviously with a bigger vise. So I've been able to line it all up now, so we're going to literally turn this. I'll use that for now, and let's see how hard it's going to be. You can see like you wouldn't be able to do this by hand. Yeah, it's popped through. Take that off, and now you can see now we've got that tip. So now I'm going to just lift that up. So I'm just using anything to just kind of grab underneath it, and now it's coming out. So I'm going to take off that one of the rivets. So the tension now is being released, and we've now got one part off. I'm going to try and push that through and see if you can take off the spring. Okay, that's off as well. Like a bushing there. Just remove all the bits and bobs. So these are a 2.5 Allen key size. Okay, so for removing that part you need to either get some sort of wrench to hold this down while you unscrew at the same time, as it's also threaded onto this. Alright, well let's begin on removing that circlip to take off the hanger bolt. Got it. So this seems to be kind of stuck, probably never been removed. Okay, managed to take that part off at least. Managed to get the hanger bolt out, and surprisingly quite a bit of grease on here. Okay, so to take that out I needed to get a plier and really pull on it to remove it. I think everything on here is tight tolerance. Okay, so now we've just got that one part here that I'm not going to be removing. I'm going to go ahead and remove the jockey wheels. So this is number 4. And now we're going to do the same method to remove the last spring to take out that bottom bolt that's in here. Got it. Okay, that doesn't look fun to put back in. I'm going to lift that up. Okay, no, it wasn't stuck. And so we've got the spring. Looks like the tip goes towards the top that we've just removed, and the short one goes on the interior. I've now removed all the parts. There's a little over, I don't know, 20-ish parts globally or a bit more. Give everything a clean. I'm going to have my lunch, and then we're going to get back to assembling everything. Obviously, this part here, if your one's in good condition, you'll be able to just remove that screw there and take off the rest of the plate. I've given everything a clean now. I'm not too concerned about how clean mine is, as I'm not going to be using the derailleur in the long term. I'm going to be setting it off for parts. I quite find this funny that one of the advantages I believe that Mavic was selling at the time was the ability to be able to replace parts when you are out in on the terrain, and given how difficult some of this stuff was to remove, I just don't believe that people would really be doing that in reality. So anyway, let's get started on the rebuild. So for the first part, we're going to put the main spring back into, or on top of this plate. We're going to fit it through. So this spring has a kind of nylon bushing part that sits through here, and then going through that is this other kind of bushing. And you'll notice on all of these there's one part that's a little bit rounded and one part that's flat. Part that's flat sits opposite towards where you remove the circlip, so the rounded part is the side of where there's the circlip, in other words. Okay, that's going through onto the other side. I'm now going to put that rivet through. I've put a bit of like classic mineral or Vaseline oil to facilitate putting it in. I guess you could probably put some more specialist oil. I believe there's some stuff that's made for computers that is more sticky and lasts long. So to get this completely through, we're going to do exactly what we did for removal, except now on the opposite side using this ring. It looks like I can just use a plier now to push it through. Put the curved or domey part of this on the top there. So there's two circlips to put back on. We're going to clip those on. bushing back through here. We're now going to screw this pivoting bolt back into the top knuckle. You can now screw this back in. It's a shame that what they should have done probably is have the same rivets with the with those clips on this side, and then that would have evaded the damage like on this one I've had on 2 derailleurs now. So now we've got the 2 plates back on, so we're going to put a spring into there. That will be the longer one. So you have the shorter tip, I believe is going to go into the main body. There's a hole on the other side, you need to just aim until it gets into the hole. I've got it. Next we're going to take the jockey wheel cage. Again, there's just one hole here, and we're going to put the other tip of the spring into that hole. So now we're going to put the rivet to go through here. This part here with the flat head is going to go on the side where there's I don't know, like this anchor bolt. You're going to need to tension this anti-clockwise until it kind of just falls down flat. I've got it. Normally you should be able to just let go. Yeah, okay, it's good. Now we just need to put that circlip on the other side. And I've got that clipped back in. For the top knuckle, we're going to put a spring. The longer part appears to go into the main body or the knuckle. So we're going to put that into the hole. There's only one on the other side there. There's 2 holes now on this side. I think on the left it's going to be less tensioned, on the right more tensioned. So I'm going to stick that onto the left, I think. Got that on. We can put the hanger bolt to go through. Mine's very tight. Thanks to Mavic, everything's tight tolerance, so it means everything's hard to put in and take out. Push that through here. I don't know if that's popped everything out now. So the bolt, I needed to slightly force it through with a plier to kind of reach to the other side. We now need to get this part to go over the stopper that's sticking out here. So that's fairly simple. You can do that like what I do on all my derailleurs. I just get a wrench and turn. Let's see if I can push it through now. Yeah. Let's put those limit screws back on. I would definitely put a bit of Vaseline on oil on these threads before you put them in. That can easily get damaged, and you definitely don't want that to happen. Alright, that's done. Put the jockey wheel bolts back on. For anyone that's interested for replacing their jockey wheels, it appears that the ones I've got and the other person, the other derailleur I've got also has tax jockey wheels, and I believe it allows you to have that larger diameter to put these large bolts back in. Screwing in. Oops. Okay, complete. Can't say that I enjoyed that really working on this derailleur. It's just not enjoyable. But it's probably not something you're going to do every day either. So thank you for listening, and until next time, peace out. Au revoir de Mavic.